Yeah. Yes, guys. It's another episode of Fight Talk Live. It's Danny Glover. It's Base the Kid. It's October Red. You know where it is.
Hello, good people. Hello, how are we all? Red, you've been doing your best to be in and amongst the BS today. So, hello, how are you?
All the better for seeing you guys. We've been rabbiting on in our WhatsApp group from this morning. Base, I gotta give credit to you. You started it. You sent me Ring IQ's video, told me where to go, told me where to find the info, and then I was up a drain pipe. That's how quick I ran into Lawrence Okoli's DMs, and obviously he answered. So salute to you, Ring IQ, and obviously Matt Lenahan from Boxing Social for getting the info in the first place.
We do what must be done. It's a thankless task, but we do it anyway. Danny, how you keeping?
Yeah, I'm all right. All good. All's blessed. Yeah, just got back from work. I don't know what's just happening with my camera, but I will sort it out in a second.
Typical. All right, so look, like I said, we got a lot to get through today. Shall we just really quickly just wrap up the stuff from the weekend? Um, talk. Yeah, let's talk about your favorite reactor first, Red, and then we'll kind of just sum up everything else after that.
Well, like I said, I thought it was a subpar opponent for him. There was a few people trying to say that, no, this guy's really good. He can, and I weren't having it. Like I said from the beginning, I believe Richard should have fought somebody at a better level. It was like, yeah, who's available, etc., etc. He went in there, got him out, I think, in 2 rounds. Um, I mean, what can I say? What did he learn from the fight? Nothing. I don't know what to say. Yeah, he got him out of there. Yeah, it's another knockout. But what did you learn? What did you learn? What did you learn?
Danny,
What I learned is that
what did you learn?
I learned that um, I learned that he was able to beat Tommy Welch. Tommy Welch, an unbeaten man. I learned also, well, it reaffirmed that at a heavyweight, it's proven that the power's undeniable, as you like to say, October. Yeah, and he done a
It's
more impressive.
undeniable against Tommy Welch. Is that what we're doing?
No, but I'm just saying the sound of the shots, the way he went down, it was impressive.
But
Yes, the
All right,
opponent
you know
was.
what?
Yes, the opponent.
You know on some dibby dibby thing.
you
Richard,
know
if
I'm
you're
not.
watching,
I've been
I'm
honest with you about
disappointed.
this
No,
from
no,
the
no. Listen,
start.
I'm didn't know, but you see, that's the thing. You were just upset with the actual opponent.
Mm,
Richard, I am disappointed in you. I'm telling you that from now. You not even okay. Fight's one thing. You had the opportunity for the Okoli fight. It fell through. Fine, we understand that wasn't your fault. Give you a pass for that. You get Welch. We know for a fact several of us have information from several credible sources that other fights were offered to you, which you decided to turn down in respect of a Tommy Welch, who no one really knew about, and only reason that happens because he's got a dad that's well known, but that didn't help him. This is the same guy that had about 6 or 7 4 rounders in these 16 fights he had, and then about six rounders. The guy's had 1 8 rounder in his career before this. This was not the level that you're supposed to be on.
Two eight
Furthermore,
rounds.
two round job, good. That's how you're supposed to deal with it. But then, what's the next thing we hear? Oh, yeah, like so. I want those world titles, but you know what? I think I want to go the domestic route. So
mm,
big ass
yeah, you did.
35 turning 36-year-old Richard Riakporhe, who fought down at cruiserweight for a world title, is telling me you want to go fighting for the British now at heavyweight. What's next? The Commonwealth. Are we? You're not even talking European. Why do you want to mix it up with Fraser Clark and Jamie TKV and David Adilier? These people that are in and amongst this quote unquote British scene when you're supposed to be far beyond that. Apart from even Clark, like he's okay, he's similar age to you, but in his professional career, he is quite a bit far further away from you. Same with David, same with Solomon, same with the rest of them. Them man are all in that British scene trying to get there get those building blocks to move to that heavyweight title. And now, but you're talking about going and mixing it up with them when you're always supposed to be at world level. After all the stop starts, after all the hiatuses, after all the inactivities, this is what you're doing. I'm sorry, I can't co-sign it. Like, yeah, there's things I want to say, but I'm trying not to be too disrespectful here, because I've got time for Richard in certain aspects, but when it comes to his boxing career, and the talking is not matching the actions. One he's got one thing that he's been able to hold his hands to, and that was the fact that he did try and go for the Okoli fight, and it was Okoli that pulled out. Whether it was injury, whether it was faked, we don't know, we don't care, it didn't happen. Cool. Now that fight's in the wayside, don't really care about that one no more. But from your telling me that you want to go domestic at 35 turning 36, that's embarrassing. End of.
See,
What, what,
I don't mind the fact that he's talking about going domestic, but everything else I totally agree with you on. The stop start, the hiatuses, I do agree with everything like that. I did a video saying I wasn't happy with the opponent. I've said it online. I was criticized for saying it. Danny, you was criticizing me for going at this opponent. I knew what it was going to be. I knew he shouldn't have been in there with him. And I asked Richard himself, and obviously Bass has heard that, because that's when he was saying he wants titles, but also he wants to mix it up in the domestic scene. So I can't argue with the domestic fighters that we've got, because we've got good fighters in the domestic scene. However, everything else, Bass, I've got to put my hands up. I can't agree with it either.
Red, here's the thing though. Here's the thing. With
Yeah.
Even if he wanted to mix it up with them, don't tell us that when you're supposed to be clear of that scene already. That's the issue. It's like, for instance, look at someone like Callum Smith. Callum Smith ain't gonna be talking about, oh, Ezra Taylor
Yeah.
or Hutchinson or these man.
Yeah,
If
you're
there's
right.
an opportunity where he ends up having to fight them because maybe they've now got themselves into an eliminator type situation or whatever, fine. But he's talking about man like Bawatsi. Would have been talking about sort of Bawatsi because he was number one in rankings. He would have been maybe
Mm.
talking about a yard because he would have been up in rankings. He's talking about Beterbiev, Biv, or Benavides. He's talking about the champions or the people that are on the cusp of champions. You don't look backwards if you're a serious contender. Like, if someone is from behind, ends up coming up the rankings, and then you have to fight them to maintain your position, that's a different thing. But you don't be at the start of the race, or all of a sudden Usain Bolt, and then turn around and say, no, let me run back to the competition. No. Stay out in front. Make
I,
them have to catch you.
nah,
That's
I
where
hear,
I
I
don't like
hear
the
that, but
mentality. The
Callum
mentality is
Sim,
telling me that he is not in this for the right reasons right now.
I can't argue. Listen, Base, I can't argue, but obviously Callum Smith, fantastic example, former world champion at the lighter weight. So obviously he's stepping it and at high levels. Richard was a contender, lost to CBS. So if he comes into the heavyweight at the domestic level with not people like Tommy Welsh, but the domestic names that you've mentioned, I don't think that's a problem. I think his end goal is world titles. But if he wants to mix it up with the British heavyweights, I haven't got a problem with that. But I do really understand what you're saying, because I've been frustrated with the way some of his career has gone as well. But I've been open with that.
yeah, and what I'd say is, as you said, October. I was just about to say that Richard, the difference between Richard and Callum Smith. Callum Smith was a world champion, actually unified world champion and Super
Mm,
Series winner, whereas Richard lost a world
yeah.
title fight against a domestic world champion in Chris Billers Smith, who then, when he did go international, lost. So Richard stepping up in weight, saying he wants to mix it with the domestic boys. Doesn't He didn't say he wants to go for the domestic titles, because I don't believe he's trying to win a British
Nah,
or
he just likes
Commonwealth.
fighters.
Like, so yeah, there's a lot of guys in the British scene at heavyweight who are doing bits, and I think that makes more lucrative money than fighting a risky man like, say, I don't know, I'm just putting names out there, for instance, like a Justice Hooney or a Caballel or a Richard Torres or a Gerard Anderson. they probably make less money for the same, if not more risk. But then when he's saying domestic, that does include the now current world champion in Fabio Wardley, who is a domestic.
That wasn't the name that he stated on
No,
the
he
night.
weren't.
If you
Yeah,
listen to the names that
I
was
know
there
who he's
on the
talking
night,
about. He weren't talking about Fabio.
He didn't
there
say
he
a
wasn't
name.
talking about world champions and the guys at number one in the domestic when they was asking him names. They was talking about people that are currently about to fight for the British title. So I want to hear it.
He didn't say any names, and Fabio wasn't actually a world champion at that time when he got that interview.
Well,
in
you
the
know
ring.
what he is. He's like world level, isn't he?
Yeah, but he did. He just said domestic. He just said domestic scene. He didn't say names or he didn't actually say a name because the guy was pushing for
Danny,
a
you're
name,
doing too much.
but he was
You're
very
doing
vague.
too much. It's only because the two of you Crystal Palace supporters, you're trying to give man
Is
grace.
that
You're
on
doing too
Millwall
much.
FC?
No, no.
You'll be
I'm
calling
just
me
saying.
Judas
Right.
at the end of
One
this.
thing I will agree with you, Red, is that he does definitely need to step up the competition because, for all it's worth, he is 35 at the end of the day, so he hasn't got time to really play about. Because, as you said, based on your video, if he hangs around in the domestic scene, playing around, having fun fights, if that takes 18 months to 2 years, he's then going to be on the slide by the time he comes out of it. So it's too late.
But that's why I brought up to him. That's why I said to him, look, you got to rate Jordan. I don't care that Jordan lost. Jordan had 2 years out and went in against someone he shouldn't have been in with. If you're going to look at it like that, he took the chance. Remember, Jordan took the chance with Opataya when other people were pulling out. Whatever the politics is, Jordan took the risks.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm judging it on. So to me, that's what Richard should be doing. If Jordan
Which
can
has
do
also
that,
been a criticism of Richard over the years, is that he doesn't take the risks. He won't put it on the line unless he's the clear favorite. And then you see what happens when he's got everything in his own standing, in his own favor, and still doesn't get the job done. That's why he didn't fight for so long. He was embarrassed. Are you gonna have it at flipping Crystal Palace Stadium, like your hometown, everything in your neck of the woods, everything under your terms, and then put in such a stinker of performance, injury or not? But that's just how the mentality. I just don't like the mentality we're seeing. It's not the pre-2019 React Poor mentality.
the savage, the savage that we know, the savage that I like really bought into. That's what I'm saying. This is the guy that was like, yeah, and now I'm like, you understand?
Right. Okay, look, there's still a few other bits on that show to talk about. I think first off, I just want to keep this one brief. So I'm just going to say something very quick. Congratulations to Ishmael Davis. Picked him to win the fight. I said he'd win by unanimous decision. He got it done. Congrats to him. Anyone else?
Congratulations to him. He's had a serious run of fights where it was as Eddie said, a must-win fight, and he done it when his career on major stages was on the line, because he probably would have ended up at a small hall show after this if he didn't win it. So
Pressure.
it was you could see how much it meant to him, what it meant to him, and I'm happy for him.
Yeah, good for him. It was a good fight. It was to and fro. I don't, like I said, I'm not judging fights, but it was a nice, good to and fro fight. And I believe that Sam Gilly did better than I thought he would, because I know that Ishmael, he's a bit of a puncher, isn't he? So Sam Gilly, fair play to him as well for staying in there. I think the knockdown was a knockdown, but whatever. And they ended up giving it to Ish anyway. So, yeah, fair play to him. He was clearly emotional because he knew what was on the line. You've got your promoter. He's giving you chance after chance, but you're coming off, is it 3 losses? So that pressure is like fire in his neck back. So for him to pull that out the bag, fair play to him. So, yeah.
Although to give him credit, he did actually have a little comeback fight last month, and he got a victory back. So he wasn't coming off of a loss. That's why he was able to fight for the British title.
Fair enough.
Them little politics things there.
Yeah.
But okay, cool. All right, I want to personally bypass the Adam Azim fight. Him and Scooby they did well, but I want to talk about the new and improved Jack Catterall and Echo the Engine Esselman.
So
Red, I'll let you start off with that one because I know that that's your sort of neck of the woods, the Midlands and higher up. Go for it.
I said that that was going to be the best fight on the card. That was the fight that I was looking forward to. Ask Emma. Emma's in the chat. Emma was saying, I always say I'm not going to watch a Jack Catterall fight, but I always end up watching them. My God, I have to now stand on an apology box about moving trainers. I have to put my head above the parapet like I did and saying, oh, I don't see the point in changing trainers. Work through what you've got with your trainer. You can get better together. It's the fighter that makes a trainer. I've said that. But my God, what a, like you said, new and improved Jack Catterall. He was an absolute beast in there. Beautiful. He hardly had a mark on him. And he bust open. And fair play to Echo Esserman. I thought they should have stopped that fight earlier as well. Because all I kept on saying is he needs to go to hospital. But Jack bust his nose, the bridge of his nose there, extremely early in the fight and just kept on capitalizing it. Couldn't miss with that backhand, and the jab, and just literally, when you tenderize meat with that mallet, that's what he was doing to his face. It was absolutely. I mean, it's terrible for Echo, but my God, it was beautiful to watch. Absolute
To,
credit to
to be
Jack
fair
Catterall
though,
and his
yeah, to
two.
be fair though, the nose was actually a head clash that caused
Oh,
the
was it the
nose. It
head
wasn't.
clash?
Yeah.
Oh,
But,
apologies.
but he did swell up the eye. The punches swell up the eye.
It was beautiful. Echo went down, come back up, which is what I expected to happen because Echo can go down. And I will give Echo as well for bringing that aggression out of Jack. I said that he would do that. He'd force him to fight because of the way that Echo's very pressure, front foot orientated. And I just knew it was going to be a good fight, but I just didn't realize how good it was going to be and how Jack practically came out scratch free and just put on such a dominant, beautiful, punching, boxing performance. Just everything, absolutely everything. So fair play to him. It just goes to show the trainer's got a say in the fighter.
Yeah.
Daniel.
Yeah, my thing is that I think Jack made a wonderful move over to America, and I think it's going to raise the eyebrows of a lot of the either the British fans or American and British fans, where people say, "Hey, America's where it's at." Da, da, da. So the resurgence of American trainers. But what it is, I think that he actually really must have thought about style wise what would match well with me and make me a better fighter and also more exciting. And what better than to go with a trainer who trains his son, who is an aggressive counterpuncher, a front forward, a counterpuncher. Because whereas Jack was very negative, bull
Yes,
matadorish, he's
yes,
now able to. Bozy has obviously trained him to be able to do the aggressive counterpunching, sit down in shots. Because Jack's always been able to sort of drop guys, but never finish guys. He can drop a man 5 times and never finish the plate. Whereas this time now, Jack's really, he's walking Esserman into shots. The jab was beautiful, as we always know he is. And as I thought as well that Echo would force Jack into a fight because of how
yep.
Echo
His style.
fight in general. But I think mentally Jack was prepared for it because
Yep.
you didn't let Echo even get off into bringing him into a dogfight and forcing him into a fight. As Echo come forward, he hit him with the right hook straight left down the pipe, which dropped him heavy. Echo started coming back into things.
Yep.
In about what was it, like the 8th and 9th and stuff like that, even
Ninth and
bundled.
fifth. It's from the 5th.
Probably about I know it's probably maybe from the 6th, but then bundled Jack through the ropes and stuff. But Jack got himself together. The refs had a bit of a nightmare. I wouldn't say Howard Foster did a madness in the fight, which Bay skipped, but you give Howard Foster a reason to stop a fight with the Scobie thing, he will do it. And this ref here, as Echo slipped over, he should have got in there sooner. Was a bit slow. Jack hit him with a 3-piece or 2 out of the 3. Yeah. Should have definitely, in my opinion, I was saying when I was doing the live that he needs to take a point off and give Echo 3 to 5 minutes to get himself together. Didn't give him no time. He just said, "Yeah, box on."
True.
And
True.
then bam, 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 and smashed through the ropes, and that was all he wrote, unfortunately. So, but Also, I know John Keenan from 13th and Final Round was the nutritionist for Echo Esserman, was saying, said that he was going to get him well hydrated and make him fit and strong and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I must say he didn't really look that strong in there on the night, Echo.
Will that work then?
Yeah, he might have been hydrated, but he didn't look stronger than Jack in there. He wasn't the usual bullish self. Maybe Jack's skills and stuff nullified all that, but yeah, he got taken out in vicious fashion. And yeah, Jack,
Vicious.
Jack should be definitely looking for a world title shot soon, I think,
Yeah, 100%.
because if he ends up retiring without a world title, he has to go on the list for maybe the best boxer to never win a world title out of Britain. He's got to be on that list rankings.
I want to see the run with it though. I want to see the next fight now because we can all get gassed over one performance. Let's see the run.
Mm.
Well, one thing I'll say regarding that, he did very well for those first 4 rounds. It looked like a totally new guy. However, from round 5, when Echo actually got back into the fight, because Echo started to turn the fight around from the fifth, but the only reason he started to turn the fight around is because Jack started reverting to type.
Type.
I don't know if that was because maybe he was a bit scared to stay there because the stamina was dropping. Maybe he didn't feel like the reflexes was there, or because he dropped Echo and Echo got up and wanted to carry on. That's like, oh, okay, maybe let me see if I can take him on the back foot a little bit. Maybe try and set some things up that way. But by doing that, even though he was still able to nick a couple of rounds, Echo was turning the tide of that fight. And had the what happened in the 11th round not occurred,
Hmm.
there's no telling that we couldn't have maybe had a very controversial scorecard where maybe Echo managed to get the fight back in his favor. Now, in terms of the whole, he may not have been as strong. You say he didn't really look as strong in there. We also have to bear one thing in mind: the styles themselves, like they gel in a certain way, but the style until Jack started going on that back foot in like round 5, 6, 7, that didn't really allow Echo to show the strength for what he'd have because he's a guy he takes a little while to get going, but from
Hmm.
Jack is like right in his face. He's not able to sort of get that time in and start really moving, and then it took him a while to get through the gears. We have to remember, as fit and strong and insanely tough as Echo is, he's 36.
Yeah, I
Like
always
he's
forget
he's
that.
getting towards the point of being like an old man. So like the strength in terms of the way to do the endurance and stuff is naturally either gonna peter out or take longer to kick in. So I think that was just a case of it just takes him a little bit longer to get going. But when he gets going, it's like a freight train. But it's just unfortunate that this
Engine.
freight train saw a leaf on the tracks and it ended up getting derailed just due to unforeseen circumstances. And I do agree with you, Danny. Like refereeing standards in the UK is poor. It's been poor for a while. There's only a couple that I would trust to referee my bout if I was a professional over here. And it's about time, whatever they have to do to get new blood in, whether that even if they got to like do an initiative where they have to pay people extra to actually want to be refs or something, just get them through that training, get them through those small hall shows, get them to the point where they're at a level where maybe they won't be a star, or maybe they'll be B referees or whatever the criteria is.
Hmm.
Maybe
On the
we don't
bench.
need all the A-star referees to referee the bouts. Let's try some others who are less down but probably a bit more keen to get it right. Because these guys to me all seem jaded at this point. They're just there going through the motions, not even really thinking about what's going on. And if we look at it like a sport, right? In every sport, what's the two things they say? When you rest, you rust, and the older you get, the harder it gets, right?
Okay.
So, pause. But with when we're looking at it, if you see that these referees have been in the game for God knows how long, the brain doesn't move as quickly as it used to.
I
The legs
agree.
don't move as quickly. The instincts aren't as sharp because
I agree.
even though you've got the experience of what you should be doing, your body can't get you there in
There's
time,
still
or you just
delays.
can't.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, there's that delay in there.
Yeah,
Same
you're
as
right.
a fighter. So that's why maybe you need to get the more youthful referees in that maybe they ain't got the experience, but
Mm.
they've got the instincts and the quick sharpness of the instincts to actually get into fights and make sure that things flow in a certain way. That's something that I would like to see. Because again, I am tired of seeing the same faces make the same bad calls week after week, and you still see them with no objections, or it's not like everyone that's made a bad decision I've seen within 3 weeks again. And
Hmm.
it's that's what we need. We need consequences. We need, okay, if you turn in adverse performances, even if you can justify the performance, okay, we need to know that you've had a hearing, or you've had to drop down a level, like to for a week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or whatever, a month. Then you get to sort of come and build your way back up. That would deter a lot of the shocking events that we've been seeing as of late. But I think it was who was that referee? It wasn't Michael Alexander, was it?
I can't even remember. But it's the
Oh,
old
Danny
boys
would
club,
probably.
innit? You'd be lucky to get any of
Oh,
them.
I forgot which one it was. Yeah.
Someone in the chat will put it in. But anyway, yeah. Look, it was unfortunate for Echo, but brilliant first half of the fight from John Latham. Thank you, Philip Answer. John
I was
Latham
about to go on
was a
box rec, but
referee.
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, no,
So
I agree with what you're saying, Base. And when you think about it, look at America, for instance. When you look at, for instance, when Kenny Bayless, he was very nimble and stuff and that around the ring. But then as he got older, he had to step aside. And then you're seeing now they got Harvey Dock, who's more youthful, young, and he's able to fly around the ring a lot quicker than the older guys. So that's why he gets a lot of the big gigs nowadays. Where, as you said, where is that fresh blood, the spring chicken who can get around the ring quicker? Because especially when you're talking about lighter weight fighters,
Yeah,
welterweight,
true.
featherweight, you need someone who's a bit quicker because things are happening a lot more faster than at heavyweight. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
yeah. Okay, well, that's my second rant over. Let's talk about the main event. So we can wrap up this whole first section because we've got a lot of stuff to address from after that point.
Hmm.
Danny, let's start with you. Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn, the rematch, the unfinished business. In your opinion, is the business finished or not?
Um, it is, but maybe it isn't. And when I say maybe it isn't, I don't mean the Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. I think that saga's finished. But who knows when it comes to the Grand Picnic them. Um, they might get, who knows. But I imagine that Chris and Connor will probably tell their kids, like, come on, we've got generational wealth now from dads to myself. Like, just allow it. You don't make a mockery out of it now. So it might, but something in my head hopes to be an old man seeing, oh, look at this, look, the grandkids are at it. So that's something a bit fun. But talking about the actual fight itself, uh, in my opinion, long story short, the entrance was great from both of them. Especially when 50 Cent come on, I was screaming, shouting, "Oh my God, yeah, yeah, yeah!" You know what I mean? I thought I was back in Deptford campus in Lewisham College again. But yeah, when it comes to the fight, I could see that Chris was, yeah, he wasn't. Unfortunately, he wasn't the same guy as the first fight, and he looked quite compromised in there. And I think, yes, Chris was very graceful in defeat as he is in victory. Um, but the one thing I did notice, which he said in the post-fight interview, which nobody has actually mentioned, is when somebody asked him a question. It was I think it was one of the women, but um, he said about the tactics Conor Benn used. He said, "Oh, the tactics he actually used was actually beneficial for me compared to the first fight." Basically, alluding to, if he came at him like he did that first fight, he probably would have got him out of there. But him boxing and stuff
Gave
actually
him a break.
helped him navigate and get through those rounds. Because I remember even in the 11th or the 10th, I think it was the 11th, but he was looking up. He clinched him and he was looking up at the clock, and as I'm commentating, I'm like, look, he's clock watching. It's not a good sign. Da, 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 da. So Connor using more of an educational route, like his old man did in the second fight, was actually more beneficial for Eubank, who obviously didn't have his legs under him, didn't have his tempo under him, unfortunately. But yeah, it is what it is.
Red, what's your thoughts?
Yeah. kind of echoing what Danny said. I love the walkouts. I was dancing when the drums, live drums, was there for Conor Ben. I was like, yeah, you know what, fair play. And then I heard 50 Cent start. I didn't think he was there. So I nearly like lost my voice when I saw him come out to 50 Cent, and it was the songs that he was choosing. And Eubank has
You
this.
was in attendance, right?
Nah, I was at home. I was supposed to do a
Oh, okay.
live. I was supposed to do a live,
Yeah.
and my
That's why I
Wi-Fi
thought
messed
you were
up.
That's
there
why I
because
thought
you
you was
weren't
there, because
live.
you didn't do a live.
Nah. I had to cancel the live because my Wi-Fi messed up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had that storm
Sorry,
last
carry on.
week, innit? Anyway, so when I'm there looking, and it's like he's walking out, it's the songs that he's choosing. And Eubank, like I said, he has this serious look, but there'll be this smirk that he has on his face, and it was almost like he was pleased with himself at what he had done, you know. So that kind of sets the tone for the fight. But from round one, I remember sitting watching the fight, and I was thinking, why is he looking so tentative? He almost looks like he doesn't want to be there. Maybe he's just playing possum. And I'm doing all these scenarios in my head that he's going to wait till Connor comes in and he can attack from, Connor walking onto a shot. But then it just kept on carrying on. And then I think it was about round 4 or 5. I said he's skedaddling with his legs. The way that he was moving, he kept on almost like galloping and then straightening his legs back out. Like, your stance is usually your stance, and you don't usually skedaddle about with your feet. His feet just didn't look right. I wasn't looking at necessarily the punches, but I was looking at his feet. But then at that time, I'm thinking Conor displayed maturity. He was boxing. He had head movements. He was moving. He was resetting. He wasn't getting emotional. A couple of times he went to have a cup. They had a little bit of a row on the inside, but then he'd like pull out and think, you know what? Let's not do this again. Let's box. But I just thought that Chris just didn't look himself. Obviously, the knockdowns were there, and we all know how the fight ended. What I did like at the end was the respect that was shown between the two of them. And, even almost for that moment, it felt like that respect was there, and genuine respect. Because I always thought that Connor looked up to Chris. There's a way that he might hate him, but he looks up to him in a way. So it was nice to see, them coming together at that point. I believe the dads have now fell out again, so that saga continues. Post-fight press conference, Chris alluded to the fact that he had some issues outside of the ring, or something. Things were going on outside of the ring. You know what he's like. He speaks in parables, and I've got my own thoughts, but I'm not going to say what they are. But I do believe that he just looked like he was just tentative from the word go. People could say, "Oh, he's tired, he's finished, his legs are gone." I don't know. To me, it was like a mental thing. Like Danny said, he was clock watching. He was looking at the clock. There was just, it was off. I'm not making up excuses for him. I'm just saying what I saw. But I saw a really good performance, a mature performance with Conor Ben, and I'm happy for him. I just don't know if Conor can jump down. What is it, £13? Is it £13?
Yeah.
Yeah.
After fighting, he looks fine. He looks strong. His legs are planted, healthy, thick, solid legs. I don't know what it's going to be like for him to jump back down to 147. However, I was entertained. I enjoyed it just as much as I did the first fight because it was still a good fight. It just ended in the demise of Chris Eubank Jr. But hey, this is boxing.
Mm.
Yeah. It's weird because I actually, when I was doing my obviously predictions and picks, like obviously I have to do my predictions for my predictions league before I have to do them on screen. So I was actually talking through how I see both guys possibly being able to win the fight, and it's crazy because Connor basically implemented the exact game plan that I said that he should do, whereby every don't look for the head in the first few rounds, which he didn't. He barely threw a right hand anywhere near the head.
Yeah, he's,
Everything was to the body. I
yeah,
said, even if you're throwing the backhand, throw the backhand to the
yeah,
body.
yeah,
Get him conditioned to thinking that everything is going down there. make him bite on the feints to say when you think that
Thanks.
okay, you're gonna go down to the bread basket, and then don't even put the right hand into play until like round 4, round 5, and that's pretty much what he did. Bar one or two shots here or there, and I was going through it, but then I still said, because I'd already previously thought, well, I think Chris should have enough after the first fight. Obviously, it take a lot out of you, but no different type of tactician in the ring, in the corner with you, who's gonna make sure that you make the weight in a better fashion than supposedly you did the first time. All I
Mm,
really saw was, okay, it would be difficult, but he could eke out like a split decision. So that's kind of the way I went. But as I was actually talking the breakdowns on the video, I kept saying, so really and truly, I think Connor should win this. But because I'd already made the prediction, I'm like, okay,
mm,
well, I think ultimately he's gonna do this, and he's gonna just about eke it out in a sort of a split, and maintain that dominance over, I guess, the Ben side of the family. But Conrad, look, he did a lot better. He was a lot more disciplined, which is something that we've never seen him be able to do. Actually, stick to a game plan for a total of period of time, not get that rush of blood, not get that sort of that little berserker mode. Actually, do the systematic breakdown, follow instructions, listen to the corner, don't rush in, and it was good. Now, there's a certain level that you give to Connor because ultimately he had to go in there and execute that.
yeah,
But the same way that everyone can say that Chris Eubank Jr. put on a great display in the rematch with Liam Smith, we also then had to put into consideration that Liam Smith looked like a whole different person than who was in the first fight.
yeah.
So there's only it's like you can't really give 100% praise to Connor, and I feel like I'm gonna give him 60%, the same 60% that Chris said that's all he needed to be 3 years ago. That's
Yeah.
what I'm going to give to Connor here, because clearly things have happened in the background, which has obviously made this fight a bit more favorable to him than maybe the first one or even any prior opportunities. However, with that being said, I'm not here to throw a pity party for Junior,
No.
nor would I believe he would want me to, because by all rights, the way that he went on in the press conference where he's shutting down certain questions, he's being rude to certain people. The only people he weren't rude to was the women, and
True.
it's a man after my own heart. But when we look at it, I feel like you just say to yourself, okay, you had all these other opportunities to do. You could have gone to 168 and been at a healthy weight. You could have fought genuine 160 guys for world titles. Like Lara was there for you, who was a smaller guy coming up, seeing as you like to fight the smaller guys naturally. Because,
Mm,
this is the same guy that was talking about he'd fight Kell Brook at 157. So he's quite happy fighting the smaller brothers. Cool. Well, Lara was there. You could have got a title off of Lara, but then you're talking about, well, this is the fight that the public want. To be fair, at the time, the public didn't actually want the fight. It was just
true.
something that was orchestrated and then just became big after
Yeah.
the drug situation and the PED fail. But outside of that, like you had all these opportunities to do other things that were more favorable to your health and to your life in this instant, and you chose to go through the rehydration clause and the 160 that is getting super duper tough to make at the age of 35,
Hmm.
36, and everything else that came with it. So the one thing I'm like, I can't give you grace for any of that, especially then when you use that as your marketing tool to, oh, woe is me, feel sorry for me, they're trying to drain me, they're trying to kill me in the ring, that I won't allow them to do such, like, they stopped that,
Hmm.
all of that stuff. And I'm like, all these things that you're complaining about, that you're using, whether it's marketing tactics or you genuinely believe it, is all of your own doing. So that's the only part where I can't
Yeah.
have any sympathy for you, because you didn't have to take any of these opportunities,
Yep.
even to the point where in the face-off, Connor said, if you're the A side, your team could have negotiated all of that stuff away, which shows basically showing that Conor Ben was the A side in the negotiations. But he said, well, no, there I am the A side. We got money. Okay, so you got money to drain yourself down and take an ass beating, as you like to call it. That's really great negotiation tactic. as far as I'm concerned. So, the one thing I will say though is the same way he gave Connor his credit in that face off, that look, I thought that him, cheaters always look for a way out. I thought he would do the same, but he took his beating like a man and all that stuff. I respect the fact that Chris always said, if I am to take a beating, let me take my beating. Do not get in the way of the justice that is supposed to be served. And I respect, that's one thing I respect. He was in there. He said he knew from the first round
Yeah.
it was gone, but he still decided to try, even though it was becoming mission impossible. And he tried to push the pace a couple times. He did try to do something. And that's one thing I will always rate on him, whether he gets knocked out, whether he gets knocked down. Even though he's always naive getting knocked down, he never lets
Gets-
his legs get set underneath
Yeah,
him. He
gets
always
up
just
straight
springs
away.
back up.
Mm.
Yeah.
But
Pride.
I rate the fact he never phones it in that sense. He's always gonna. He's one of those people when they talk about, are you prepared to be unalived in the ring? He definitely gives you those vibes of he is that. And so I will give him that credit. But everything else, no.
Yeah. And also another thing which I found I liked when the final bell rang. Obviously, Conor Benn jumped on the top rope, but Eubank stood there like in defiance, like I'm still here. Like even remember what he was talking about when people kept saying you got knocked out by Liam Smith. He's like, no, I didn't get knocked out. I was on my feet. I ran over to him in his face to let him know I'm still ready to go. Obviously, he was in no fit position to
Fit
continue,
shape,
but his pride, you can see the man is a very
proud man.
man. So you have to commend that. As you said about October, about the dads, when Nigel, he felt slighted when Senior gave him the stiff arm embrace hug, where he went to embrace him and he gave him the stiff arm. I think that Senior did that because it's the press conference. We're in the middle of a fight. I'm not here to be skinning teeth. I'm here to kick out teeth. Do you know what I mean? He's not.
Well,
there
I
to
was
skin
annoyed that they jumped in front of the camera.
Well, he wasn't there to sort of like do the whole smiley, like in a sense of
It's not their press conference; it's their sons.
I know, but I'm saying when Nigel wanted to embrace and hug, Senior's not in that mood because Eubanks Jr. wasn't in that mood. He had a serious face on, whereas Connor wanted to sort of, as you said, kind of looks up to Chris in a way where he was like, "Come on, Chris," calling him, and Chris didn't want to acknowledge him. But there's a thing where I think, and I love Nigel, but I think that slightly in a way, he kind of admires Chris as well, in a sense, because if you look throughout their journey, look at the way Nigel Benn used to dress, and then he all of a sudden, when he reinvented, he started wearing suit jackets with jeans and shoes. That is very Eubank-esque. Then he starts dancing on the entrance song in the rematch to give that, that's a Eubank Senior-esque maneuver also, So there's things where he definitely took some inspiration from Senior, and deep down, as Eubank Senior said on his own podcast, we're brothers, whether you like it or not. We're bonded for life. Whether you say you don't like me, don't talk to me, deep down, we're bonded for life, whether you like it or not. So, yeah, man, it is what it is. But I think it's been a great 35 years
Of
they've
course, it
given
has.
us. And yeah, I think that, yeah, and as Junior, he's not gonna. The reason why Junior doesn't want anyone to feel sorry for him, because at the end of the day, he's been well compensated for that type of money he made. Not that I'm pocket watching, sorry, but I wouldn't mind getting punch up for that kind of bread. So hey, it is what it is. He's made a good living.
I will credit the boys just finally to say they actually made it out to be about them. It wasn't about the fathers because for the first time I was actually annoyed that the fathers were in the way at the press conference when I wanted to look at the sons. So it shows that they managed to step out that barrier. It did become about Eubank Jr. and Connor, which was good because they broke the mold. So fair enough, it's over now. I do agree with Danny, potentially kids, 20 years down the line now, if we're all still alive, fit and well, 25 years, it could be the third generational fight. Who knows? Anything is possible.
And even the ref took an uppercut in there, didn't he? So
Yeah, that was funny. Oh, one thing that I did like that Connor did? When Eubank got him in the clinch, yeah? He grabbed this arm, yeah? So his arm was in the clinch. Connor was able to make the space in between and go in there and whack Eubank Jr. on the
in the
chin.
shots. Yeah, and he didn't
Oh, it
like
was
I
beautiful, that
remember.
was.
he
Anyway,
didn't
yeah.
like that shot. Do you know what that reminded me of? That reminded me of
It reminded me of skill.
no, well, no, it reminded me of because I'm the master aficionado. It reminded me of when Carl Froch grabbed Andre Ward in a clinch, and Andre Ward managed to separate his arm and hook Froch right in that beaker before he had the nose
Okay.
job. And Froch's face was like that really hurt. Like you
Yeah.
could see that the pain in his face.
Yeah.
So yeah, it reminded me of that. It's a good move that.
Okay. All right. So
I just, yeah.
little Star Fox. Right. Okay. So that's in the past.
That's in the
So
past.
we look to the future. So we was gearing up for the Ring 4 card, big, sort of big Riyadh season, David Benavidez debut out there, Anthony Yard getting his third crack at the apple. Can he do it? Brian Norman and all of that good stuff. Bear in mind, if you know on that card, the combined I can't remember the combined record, but the combined losses of everyone on that card is 3. And all of those 3 losses come from the same person. I just want to
Rotted.
highlight that as a very interesting piece of news. Yeah. But that being said, we was getting hyped for all of this.
Yeah, of course.
Then out of nowhere, we get the big news that Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua has been signed, has been sealed. We got little rumors last week that it was in talks and that they was looking to finalize a deal. Eddie said, "Yeah, it's not even close." Yeah, boom. It's funny whenever Eddie says that nowadays. That just means the fight's happening.
it's
I
up.
think that's his code to
Yeah.
say the fight's happening.
Yeah.
So we get it the 19th of December, the same night as the Nigeria card on the zone with Okoli, Odiase, Adelie. So we gotta decide luckily we don't have to decide what we're doing because it's different time zones. But yeah, look, it's official. Anthony Joshua's got a weight stipulation clause on him. If we've been talking about that and we're keeping the same energy for Chris, is maybe that 245 situation going to be a bit of an issue? Danny, what's your thoughts on the fact it's been made, the fact that Jake is going to go through with it, but also the fact that Joshua's got a weight stipulation on him?
The fact that it's made, I just think, yeah, do what you're doing, AJ. I know people, some of my civilian friends, they're talking about, oh, he's disgracing himself and rah 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 rah. I'm like, mate, if you're getting 70 million quid for an easy job for a quick lick, like, why not? Like, people think, do people think that just because you've got millions and you've got money that you've just randomly lost the value of money, like you don't know what 70 million pounds is or something? Like, that's still big money, and for a job that I would see as so easy, because I see this as a 1 round job. If it's not a 1 round job, then I think something's fishy, because the way you folded Ngannou backwards like a deck chair, I'm expecting AJ to splatter this man in 1 round. So get your money. That doesn't mean that, oh, he has no dreams and aspirations of ever going for a world title run again. It just means he's getting a quick lick because Jake Paul decides to offer it. Why? The fact that, and also Jake Paul going for it. I know people are saying, oh, you're so brave. Oh, yeah, any man that gets in the ring. But for 70 million, you do some crazy stuff. Do you know what I mean? There's people doing Bush Tucker trials for much less. Do you see what I'm saying? So I'm not going to give him that much rating. Yeah, Jake Paul, he's about making that bread. Maybe he's just thinking, do you know what? Let me just cash in and just get splattered. I'm getting some big money. It's on Netflix, so I'm gonna do something crazy brave. So well done. It's like that. It's like that show Jackass. They was making literally probably peanuts compared to this for the amount of madness they used to do to their own bodies. And people like Mankind, aka Mick Foley, getting choke slammed onto pins and through hell in a cell for a lot less. And then what was the last question on that subject? Sorry, Base.
Yeah, the weight clause.
Oh, the weight clause. I don't think that's going to be much of an issue for AJ. I know he likes to come in whatever he feels like. He says he doesn't really ever weigh himself, and he just comes in whatever he feels like. So him having to come in at 244, yeah, he'll have to skip off a bit, but it ain't. It's not like if he put a proper weight restriction like 230, then you might think, oh, AJ's gonna have to really struggle for this one. But I don't see him struggling to weigh in 244 personally, because he hasn't been weighing that much over that for his most recent fights, I'd say.
But you know what? The one thing I'll say to that is he hasn't weighed much more than that. And yeah, as a heavyweight, it probably should be easier to get the weight off. But, and I know obviously this is a bit of an extreme example, but I want to use it just for maybe comparison. Right. So we got Martin Bacoli, right? He went into the Joseph Parker fight at what? It was like over 300 pounds, give or take, yeah?
Mm.
Yeah,
And
320.
was it 320? Right.
Yeah.
So say he was 320 there, and then by the time he got to the fight with F.A. Jagbar, he had only managed to take off about 14 pounds. Now, and that's all fat.
No, sorry, it was 310. And so
Was it
yeah, he went
310? Okay, so
yeah,
310, then he came in like 298 or something like that, or 296.
yeah.
So if we're looking at it from that particular point of view, we're saying it. I mean, now yes, his habits may not be as stringent, as strict as Joshua's, but he only had fat to lose, and fat is a lot easier to lose than muscle. We know that Joshua is very sort of muscular, muscle bound. Now he came into a lot of his previous fights at like 252, 251, like 255 against Jermaine Franklin, and that was the heaviest he's ever weighed. But if we're putting into consideration, he's also in a camp, right? More time than not. So if you're in camp, you're going to be losing weight in the camp as well. So does that also mean potentially that he's actually going into camp at 267,
No.
268, and then as he's just naturally doing his exercise, he's dropping 13 or 14 pounds. Like, so if that's the case, just as an example, that extra 10 pounds that he would have to drop from the previous, or you could maybe even call it an extra stone, depending on which weight you actually choose to use, that could potentially be something, could be issue. Because one thing that I've heard this about Anthony Joshua quite a bit, and I think it was one of the reasons why people alluded to him leaving Derek James, is that Derek James wanted him to do a lot of road work, and he doesn't really like to do road work like that. So maybe to have to get those extra pounds off is what you need to, is you actually have to do that road work that he doesn't like. And that could be, I'm not saying that's going to be any way to give Jake Paul a chance, but I'm saying in terms of his physical performance in there, that could be a possible detriment to whereby maybe you don't get that knockout in the first round. Maybe it has to go to the fourth or the fifth, and it's an accumulation thing rather than a one punch Ngannou type situation, as an
Mm.
example.
Well, yeah, what I think is like Conor Ben, because I follow Conor on Snapchat, so I see that when he started his camp for this fight, he weighed in the gym in Matchroom at 150, and he was like, "Time to eat some bricks." So he had to actually put on weight. And with AJ, when you notice when he's out of camp, he looks a lot more slender and slim. So when he's getting into fight mode, you notice that all of a sudden he's now pumped up and he's dieseled up. So I think he's a man who naturally weighs lighter than this 255 stuff. So, but I think that the reason why he probably doesn't do the road work, he's on that henchman thing. He's on that roadman henchman. Because I'm hench, I must be strong and I must be able to like mash up people. That's why when Usyk beat me, he's like, "How did you beat me? I'm bigger and stronger than you. How'd you?" Because he's on that henchman, jailman thing. Like he's on the wing with Clue. What we doing? What we doing? Them kind of man there. But so I think that him coming in at 255, 245. I think it's not going to be hard. He just has to lay off the weights, which might, the only thing it might psychologically play with him where I can't be as hench, so I'm not feeling as strong as I think I am. Because he might have that, what's that thing? Not metamorphosis. What's that thing where you think you're fat, or you think you're, no, sorry, you think you're
Body
skinny.
dysmorphia.
That's the one. You think you're skinny when you're not. Yeah, that one. I think he might have some of that in his head.
Okay. Red, what's your thoughts?
It's a money grab. Fair play to him. I think his average is about 245. So I think they've capped it as his average weight that he comes in as a fighter. So yeah, I don't think that really will be an issue for him. I think he came in at about 250 odd for Daniel Dubois. So yeah, but give or take £7, he should be okay with that. Um, Nobody's touched on who's training him for this fight. I know he's not with Ben Davison because I can't see him there anymore. We did obviously hear that he was going to Camp Music, and some people were suggesting, oh, that was because obviously mental training, physical training, whatever training it is not in the camp that we thought he was in. This fight is a month away, base, Danny. It's not round the corner. And albeit people think that Jake Paul is a gimmick, one thing I will say is he's got passion and he does take the sport seriously. However much we want to laugh at him and think he's just a YouTuber, he does take the sport seriously. You can pick apart the people that he's picked to fight, but he knows how to make a few quid. Anthony Joshua probably will get him out of there very, very sharpish. But like the weight things come out in the contract. Let's have a look. The weight thing that's come out in the contract, I think that's probably the only thing we will get to see, because there's going to be other stuff in that contract that we probably will never see. So I don't know why they've thrown that out like a breadcrumb to us. There'll be other stuff in there. Maybe Anthony Joshua can't knock him out and can't make him lose disgracefully. But what I will say is I'll never, ever underestimate a strong person's mindset compared to a person that hasn't got the strongest of mindsets. And I think that could play a factor in this fight.
Interesting. So my assessment of it is, again, I've got no issue with it, and it to me, the one thing that I'm finding craziest, outside of people saying you shouldn't take it because if people were saying you shouldn't take this fight because what if you lose? All right, I could maybe understand that.
Yeah.
Although I would say, if I was AJ, I'd be looking at those people saying, "You lot really think I am that far gone past world level that this is going to be the fight that now takes it away from me?" That to me is a bit crazy. But when everyone's like, "Oh, he's tarnishing his legacy," and rah, 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 I just find it odd that the same people that are saying that the man should have retired last year are now saying that he can't take a gimmick fight because of his legacy. But you already said his legacy's over because you wanted him to retire.
Yeah, it's always make your mind up when it
Yeah,
comes to him.
it's always, and look, I'm not AJ fan club like that, but I always try to give a balance to when there's a lot of negativity that goes his way because it is more than most. But it's crazy how the guy has the guy ain't got a world title. He's not in line for one at the moment. It's not like he's holding up the division because Usyk's waiting for him to get back to level so that he can fight him again, anything like that. He's been out of the ring for over a year, not troubling nobody. He's out of the rankings. He's off box rec technically because he's now showing as basically inactive.
Inactive, yeah.
All of this stuff here, yet the man can't go and do a little showcase fight because it's going to tarnish his legacy. But those same people was quite happy with Tyson Fury to have the
Ngannou.
MMA fight with Ngannou, or the boxing fight with the MMA heavyweight champ, because always, well, it's a bit of fun and he can get to the Usyk fight later, blah blah blah. So the man who's got the titles can do what he wants and it's okay. Anthony Joshua ain't got nothing, ain't holding nobody up, ain't troubling nobody, but yet it's a problem. And
You
that's the
know
one
what it is, though?
well, yes, but I'm just saying it's just crazy how the rules are not the rules are not the rules all the way around. Because if that's the case, cool. I want that to be the energy for everybody. Because do you know what I mean?
As
It
Paul
seems to
Mooney
only be
says,
for him.
as Paul Mooney says, ain't nothing changed but the weather.
With
Well, you know
regards,
what? Somebody's just put, so shout out to Ifisid. He said that AJ did an interview with Lady Shan and it looked like he was blaming Ben Davison for the last loss. And that's one thing I won't tolerate. The thing is, when he loses, he blames his trainers. He's got to start looking in the mirror. And that's one thing I want. He does that all the time. So
Or
that's the only thing I'll have a moan about.
does he blame? Well, what
Yeah,
do
he
you mean?
does.
As in terms, blame them in terms of he leaves them, or just blames them as it? Because I've never heard
You,
him.
you- yeah, he has. He's alluded to. It's like, oh, tell me. I think it was the Ruiz one, and he was like, well, ask my trainers. Like they were the ones that were making the decision. That's when he had Freeman in the corner. He's done it before. That's the
Well,
only thing I don't like, and that's what I've said. You're looking for this perfection. You're looking for this person to make you this perfect boxer. I spoke to Eddie Hearn about it. The only person that can do that is himself. He needs to have a conversation with himself, not every Tom, Dick, and Harry trainer. Somebody pointed out, Dan Aziz quite rightly pointed out, guys, that Lennox Lewis had 4 trainers throughout the peak of his career. He was somebody that, and I didn't know that. But at the end of the day, Lennox Lewis would still take accountability. He wasn't there like blaming trainers and then switching. You don't do that, and that's the only thing I don't like. And I can and he does do that because it's there.
Hmm, I hear it, but I think if we're going to be honest, any time that you kind of change trainers, it's because you're almost blaming them for you not progressing, or you need something that they can't give you anymore, or they don't have the tools. So that is kind of an admission of blame, just maybe in a less confrontational way. But I hear it. Maybe we gotta go check out that Lady Shan interview because I never saw that one. So if he
mm,
said it's gone under the
Yeah,
radar,
if
shout
he
out
said
to,
it's there, I
to
haven't seen it
Shan.
either.
Um,
mm. But that's something most fighters do then anyway, ain't it? Really? When they lose, they change trainers. The only one I know of, top of my head recently, or if ever, is Connor Walker. He was on a win streak and then decided to change, but that's just because he felt that he just wanted to make a progression. But in general, it's usually you see people lose or have a very mad fight where they was about to lose, as an example, and then they change trainer. When something bad happens, that's when they change.
But he's looking for something every time. He says he's looking for something. He's very skilled. He's a skilled fighter. We've seen what he can do with the confidence that he's got. But he seems to be still asking questions. When are you going to get to the point where you are confident in your own ability? That's what I'm saying to you. And that's what I've said in a 45-minute video that I made about it when I
good
heard that he was
video,
going
by
to
the way.
team.
Anyone, if you haven't watched that, watch that video.
Oh, thank you. I didn't know you'd listen to it. But yeah, that's out there because it's like, why are you doing this? Go and look in the mirror.
I
Mm.
hear it. I hear it. Um, but yeah, look, thoughts on the fight. Like I said, do what you're doing, make the money. Whatever you're doing in February, whoever you're fighting in February, you know, prepare well. Use this as part of the training camp for that, if that's what we're going to be doing, because he likes to have his 12 to 16 week training camps. So this
Hmm.
should slot right in sort of the middle there. February, then whatever happens in September. Um, yeah, get your bread as far as I'm concerned. But if in terms of the whole training situation, I mean, look, time will tell. But I guess if we're looking at sort of maybe the way that Moses Atama has been talking as of late, he probably is no longer in the gym or in the gym full time, and
Oh, I'm
yeah,
glad you
maybe
picked up on that.
maybe they're all maybe it's all now it's the Queensbury assault on AJ, because it seems like more than one of the Queensbury lot have decided to plant their flags the other way. Moses said he wants Jake to win, or it would be great if Jake won the fight. Lawrence Okoli, who is on the graphic, has gone to say that he's willing to give Jake Paul some sparring to get used to getting hit by heavy shots of that level and trying to even the playing field. Um, October did a very very impromptu yet needed interview with Lawrence Okoli earlier on today, whereby he has basically said, "Look, you know, we were cool." He's alluded to the fact that maybe they're not cool, or that he is cool or very good friends with people that Lawrence now has disagreements with. So all's fair in love and business. And as he quite eloquently put it, I'm not his girl and he's not my girl. So I'll do what I want. Uh, Now, since you was obviously in the interview, Red, we'll leave you till last on this one. Danny, I need to hear what you're going to say, then I'm going to have my take. Red's going to sum it up.
Yeah, that was an excellent interview by October Red. Please, guys, you need to check it out. And when you do, please hit the hype button because this needs to get trending, and hit the thumbs up button when you do watch it. But yeah, Lawrence Okoli, he came out of a lot of bombs straight out the gate. I don't know if it was the thing where you was talking about, the entry point, what set him off, what got him, going. But from there, he was just on fire. When you asked him about the Judas moniker and label, he, he said, "Well, Anthony Joshua ain't Jesus." Oh my god! So and
Mm.
as Bay said, he said that he alluded to Anthony Joshua is friends with people. He had a Freudian slip where he said Eddie, and he said, "Oh, Freudian
Mm.
slip." Well, Anthony Joshua is friends with people that I don't like. So, but to me, the way he was sounding like he was like, "Oh, I want to help Jake Paul get used to big shots." To me, in my head, the way he's petty and the
Yep.
way he seems a bit red eye and bad mind with it, but he's that lovable rogue with it. But I
Yeah.
think in his head, he wants to get the rounds, not the rounds. I think he just wants to sabotage the fight, like mash up Jake Paul in the sparring where he's forced to pull out, like try and cut,
Oh, you reckon?
yeah, try and injure him, like proper dig him and injure him, and then the fight's off. That's what I'm getting, that vibe where he wants to
See, I
scarf on
didn't.
that. Yeah, I think
I
he
know
wants.
he's petty.
Yeah, he's petty like that. Remember, he's a man who wants to show accounts of how much his restaurant's making, and he wants to end that
But he
70
didn't.
mil.
He stopped it.
Yeah, I know he said I had to calm myself down, but but yeah, I think he wants to injure him to try. But he said that he most likely isn't going to get
Nah, yeah, he was just
sparring
a stab in
anyway.
the dark, innit?
Yeah, it's just a trap. But I think he definitely wants to try and sabotage that fight in some way. But it's unfortunate, that Lawrence Okoli and Moses, they that I know they were saying they were form. Anthony Joshua walked out. Lawrence Okoli base was there when we was in the
Yeah,
O2.
that
When
was
it,
at the old two, innit?
yeah, with Israel Adesanya, and he walked out with the Niger flag. So not
Nice.
only you going against your former manager, your former fellow Brit, your fellow Nigerian brother. He was talking about, Team Nigeria, saying, you know, trying to send a little dig at Fabio, like he's shy to admit he's Nigerian, even though he just doesn't go about screaming it like some of the other lot. But you're going against your Moses and Moses and Lawrence are now going against the Nigerian king. But hey, it's like Shaka Zulu, in it. When
But
you're at
did
the
Moses do that though? Because I sat in. You know what? Carry on. I'll tell you what I heard.
Yeah, well, from what I've heard, it's like he said the quote was he's backing him, he wants him to do well.
Are you sure?
Um, but I don't. He didn't say. But from what the writer, he didn't say he wants him to win. He just says he just likes a success story. So with Moses, it's like I don't think he's really thinking that deep into it. He's just doing what he wants to do. He ain't. I don't think he's focused on a man like Anthony Joshua because he's at the beginning, Anthony Joshua at the end. I don't think he even sees them crossing paths like that. Like so, but Lawrence, he definitely is on a bad mind scar parenting, but it is what it is. There's obviously something behind the scenes, what's bothering him, and something's gone on where he's saying, maybe I think that he thought maybe he liked Anthony Joshua or rated him more as a person than Anthony Joshua rated him. You know that one?
That's what I got. That's what I
Yeah,
got.
yeah,
Like you can love someone more than they love you.
where you're
Like things are more like one sided in a sense.
yeah, where the thing's telling people, yeah, that's my man, that's my boyfriend, and then the
Oh,
brother's like,
it's
oh, is that
funny.
your girl yet? No, I was just doing a little thing
Yeah,
with that.
that was funny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm,
So I think it's some of
interesting.
that.
But I just had a bit of a moment. Something just kind of came to my head because if we're talking about him being petty, right? And bear in mind one thing. Look, everyone. I don't think it's a big secret. Like I respect Lawrence's achievements and stuff. He's never been one of my favorite fighters, but clearly I don't think I'm on that family's Christmas list. For when it comes to all of that stuff. However, I think in here
Sorry.
he may have a bit. I think that there's actually a little bit of he's actually upset, but he's not upset with Joshua in general. But I think it's, remember, when's this fight taking place?
Same
19th of
day.
December.
Same
Same
day.
day as their one when they're trying to do this big thing for the motherland. Bear in mind
What that-
they
Yeah.
did the Nigeria show the other day. All the Nigerians were there but Anthony Joshua. So I'm thinking now, is it one of them ones that maybe because you're supposed to be with us trying to champion this thing and you're not even showing up, and now you're actually doing the ops thing and you're actually fighting on the same time as us, taking away possible eyeballs or possible attention from the situation. So now if you're gonna do that, I can't really rock with you the same way anymore. Like we kept it on a casual, on a cordial thing because obviously you brought me into the game and you got the numbers up and whatnot. But now it feels like you're violating. You're trying to stagnate my career, even though I've still got years left, and you're on the back nine. I'm just, that's just come into my head. Is that
That's
the
just
reason
coming
why
to
he's
now. You've said it.
that,
Can't
Especially
unsee it.
remember, and also he's going to think, hold on, you showed up at the Ghana one, but you didn't show up at the. And remember, it was two Nigerians who wasn't there: Anthony Joshua
Yeah.
and Fabio.
but Fabio was on holiday though. That's kind
Yeah. I
of,
don't think he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna
Oh
be
no, he
bothered
was in
about
camp. No,
Fabio.
sorry, so he
yeah.
was in camp. So he had a
Yeah, I don't think he
reason.
would have been bothered about Fabio still.
Remember,
No, but
because
it's just what you said
remember,
to
the
him.
only people that like, he's like, again, he doesn't hide it. But remember, his name's Fabio Wardley. That's not a Nigerian name, so no one's immediately thinking of him as one of them.
Him having
Neither was
mother.
Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's Femi
Yeah, but it's all of the, the Anthony
Alosawene
Oluwafemi or
thingy.
the Seni, like that's all in there. There's none of that in Fabio's name
Nope.
that I'm aware of. That
Yeah,
tells you that there's
We're not on Box Rec.
no,
so
but he might have an African name.
maybe. But what I'm saying is like that's not something whereby if he's not there, them man there, sort of the dark skinned tribes are not looking and saying, "Where's Fabio? Why is he not representing?" I don't think it's that deep. Moses kind of has to be there because he's got the name. He's got, it's a Talma, like, you are of the clan, you must be here and show up, kind of thing, and people have associated him with that because it's been part of his story. So
Correct.
I think in that sense, that's why maybe Fabio will get a bly in that situation, and obviously the Ipswich thing. Remember, because the accent's a little different, they don't really gravitate the same, regardless of how rough the ends is, how legit the people are. People will still hear the tractor accent and be like,
Country.
yeah, but I
Country
don't really
bumpkin.
know. It's one of them ones. It's the same when you go up to some of the places up north and even in the Midlands. Like, you don't take it serious until it happens, and you're like, raw, I wasn't expecting that. But you still can't take it serious because that accent just ain't really hitting the way it needs to hit when certain words come out.
I know
So
what you're saying, base. You're,
yeah,
you're basically saying some of the London man, them when they go up to Birmingham, they laugh at the accent. But the thing is, Birmingham
Won't
has.
be laughing in the gullies.
I know, but when if you go to Aston and um, what's the other one? Handsworth, they soon learn that it can get very real. But yeah, in general, the accent, people do find it quite
it can
humorous.
get like
It's,
we
it's the
all
same in
know. We all
America.
know it can get real
Same
anywhere,
in America.
and we all know that there's places and everywhere you shouldn't go. But there's certain times, certain places, whether it's the UK, America, Africa, there's certain accents that you will hear that just won't sound as threatening to you in that moment, or you'll just find it will just seem funny. And I think that's where they kind of put Fabio, so they don't put the same expectation on him that they would put on Anthony Joshua, which is kind of where my point being. And I just feel like him not being there is maybe what has now sort of sparked off this big alliance amongst all of the Nigerian Queensbury lot, because they're the ones that seem to be popping the shots. It's all of them. It's Queensbury, which is obviously the ops anyway, but now it's like we're all supposed to be Nigeria, and you ain't repping us, and you ain't showing up when we've got, when we're doing the thing, trying to elevate the country and all of that stuff. So that's where that came into my head. It's a plausible thing. It could be total rubbish, but it just sort of, it sounds
Makes
like
sense
there's
though.
more behind the scenes than that, especially again because it's on the same day, and like you're taking eyes away from us, which in theory could potentially take money away in some way, shape, or form.
I think to me that makes sense, and I didn't clock it at the time, but yeah, good spot that base.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I try and do. But Red, let us look. You was in the thick of things when in the interview. You was, giving out the questions, pushbacks here. Maybe, so I know sometimes I think there were some pushbacks you wanted to give before. You know what? Let me move on. But what was your thoughts on his stance, his obviously his comments, his truth in that aspect, and just what do you think of him possibly going against code, if that's what we're going to call it?
Yeah, I went up. Obviously, you put the video into the group chat and showed us where to find the relevant information. So it was like, okay, right, that does look kind of bad. So that was kind of the tone for the conversation. However, I couldn't really rebut what he was saying because at the end of the day, it is business and people do turn on you. And at the end of the day, some people are just selfish in business and he's looking out for himself. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors. We know what we see and we might know some rumors that we've heard, but we don't know the full facts. But when whatever Lawrence was saying is that his loyalty is to himself. It's not to anybody. It doesn't matter that he used to work with him. It doesn't matter that he walked him out to a fight. At the end of the day, why not go in there with Jake Paul and have some sparring with him and whatnot? Why not? Why can't I? Like he said, AJ's not my girl. I'm not his girl. I can do what I like. He can do what he likes. It's not that deep. And he was like indifferent is how I would say. But obviously there was some funny stuff that he was saying with it. But I can't argue with him. I'm not paying him. I'm not his manager. I'm not AJ. I'm not part of AJ's team. So it's kind of like, yeah, just get on with it. I can't. I can't really argue with it. He gave his reasons, and the reasons made sense to me. But he did say at the end of the convo, "I am petty," which matches in with exactly what you've just said. So that literally could be the reason why he's offered to do it because it's like, yo, hold on, I'm fighting on that day, even though he hasn't got an opponent yet, which he did say. And I'm not sure Emmanuel Odeazi is on the card at the moment either. We'll see. So we'll see how that pans out because the only one that's been announced that's got an opponent is David Adelaide. So we'll see what happens there.
And who's his opponent?
Don't know, some German, some 40-year-old German.
Yeah.
Wait, is he German or is it Nelson?
No, it's not Heiser.
Oh,
No.
okay. Well, one thing I do want to say though, with regards to like Lawrence, I guess, and everything is, I respect the fact that he was, honest in that sense. Again, there seems like there's more to it than just
Yeah,
simply
it
it's
could be.
business. I do what I want, but that's for him to decide whether he wants to speak about or not. But he does have currently. It does seem that there is a pattern of. All right, let's
We'll
call.
say disloyalty.
Let's for this argument, let's call it disloyalty, yeah.
Mhm.
Not just with the AJ, but there always seems to be like he's either quick to cut ties or move to another thing, or if he doesn't get things the way he wants, there's no ability to seem to compromise. Now,
Mhm.
if that's how you want to play it, that's totally cool. But let's also remember what they say: a bridge burned can never be crossed again, right? You have, and then if you build that bridge again, it takes forever to build a bridge, but obviously it takes very, very short time to burn it. So, in that sense, if you're gonna continuously like burn these bridges or do these things, step on toes for the sake of business while you're in the game, don't then be surprised when other things don't go your way for the simple fact that you don't now have the relationships that you once had for whatever moves or underhanded or petty things you decided to do. Now luckily he's on a path where he's got restaurants and stuff in Dubai that he's diversifying and building out a different revenue stream which works in his favor. So boxing isn't a be all and end all, but
Mm, mm,
maybe even forget just boxing, but maybe business in general. If this is how he's moving potentially in these circles, that could be something that carries over into the business world, which could be a detriment down the line. So that's the only thing I would say is if it's just strictly to this, cool. But if that's like an inherent trait that you just have in general, like let's
mm.
let's remember he also said in your interview that
Mm.
mate, this has come from probably trauma of being the fat kid that couldn't win races at school.
Yeah, he was honest.
And
So
never got
the
medals
point
and stuff.
being is like, so the behaviors that you're exhibiting are all ingrained in you from young. So
Mm.
these are things like that can ultimately rear their ugly head in the future, and mess you up and mess up opportunities for you because you haven't been able to address, or you're not willing to address these traumas or these traits that you have that are obviously negative in certain aspects.
You know what though, Base? And maybe it's just me, but I really like that toxic trait.
Of course you
Mm.
do.
That's what women always do.
I don't know. I like it. To me, it was just like, you know what? This is fun. It's great. Don't know. I can't even explain. To me, I had more that conversation, albeit he was being very serious and open, and he was raw, as you can say that he was. It was very refreshing because that was the real him. That was the sarcastic. I don't really care. Like F you, when Kanye West said that all the doors shut on him, but then when he started to make his millions, he like drove past. There was an interview he did, and he was like F you, F you, F you, and it was that kind of. People don't like to see that, but I don't mind. Some people call it arrogance, whatever. It can come back and bite you, but he seems quite clever that he's actually put himself in good financial predicaments. Should one thing not go to plan, he's actually invested in other things. He's sensible. He's not one of these that's just like burning, throwing his money down the drain. And he seems to like the way that Franks works with the chessboard in boxing, the strategic way it works, because he's got his eyes fully focused on Ajit Kabayel. That's what he wants. He reckons that because Usyk has dropped the WBO and it's been given to Fabio, he has said, well, I think now Usyk might drop another one. So then it starts to put those belts out there, and then it makes it more good for us because those of us that really want the titles, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. There's always a bit of sarcasm with him and a dig. He says we'll be getting those opportunities.
Mm.
I can't hate him for that. He is ambitious. He is ambitious.
Yeah, he is ambitious, and he's definitely always got things to motivate him in his brain, as he said. Even though he lost to Chris Smith, he can say that he's a two-weight world champion, about to be a three-weight world champion. So
Yeah, that's what
in
he
his
said.
head, he's doing better, and he's got his gold. He wants to go in the golden lift, and
He's like that.
you got you
But that's
got.
what I'm saying. You could literally go. Say if you was like you was one of the mandem, you know that you're gonna go out and you're gonna have pure jokes all night. You're not gonna be bored. It's not gonna be dead because it's just pure banter. Because he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, let's go into the golden lifts. Why? He said, you know what? I could have took the stairs, but you know what? Let's just go into the golden. He's just that dude, and
Do you know
he's
what?
grown on me so much.
Do you know what? We need to do our own version of, when they do the little game of when you put two people and you're like, what two set of people would you want
Oh
to sit
yeah,
on a 9 hour play? And I'm telling you,
I'm
if
sitting next
you
to
have
him.
Lawrence and Henry, oh my god,
Yeah,
oh that would be great.
he's got character, and I'm glad that's coming out now because it wasn't really before.
Mm, yeah,
So
until you came along.
it wasn't me. He was all sarcastic, but not like that though. He was more quieter.
Mm, yeah, I think you
Okay.
bring out the best in him.
I bring out the best in a lot of men.
So this Saturday, um, big card. I know that we are. I don't know how many of us are going to be doing the watch alongs. I suspect it will be
Yeah,
all
yeah,
of
we'll
us.
all be doing it, won't we?
But it's actually because it's even though it's Saudi, they're actually doing hybrid timing. So you guys are aware. I think it's starting at like 10 o'clock.
I heard 8.
Now I heard it's 10, and then
Nah, well, I won't be doing it then.
and
Nah,
then
see
the
you
main
Where's
later.
the main
event's supposed
event?
to be like 1:30 or something in the
Yeah, I
morning.
heard the main event's 1 in the morning.
Yeah,
Huh? No,
yeah. Because
no, no
remember
Because
this.
watch along from me again.
they've got to accommodate the Americans a bit.
Yeah,
Oh, well,
you gotta
One's
get
not
you gotta
too
get the
bad.
afternoon nap in there, Red.
Yeah,
I can't do it. I can't.
one's not too bad.
One's
Come on.
bad. And if you at Mr. S, no, Richard and I separated a while ago, and Coley and I are just friends.
Yeah. So we've got so let's talk about the card, right? Now I'm obviously you guys know I have to abstain from any predictions until
Oh, that's what you meant. Just go in there.
I know.
well,
I was thinking he was talking about
Um,
Friday.
I mean well Friday's a whole different story. But that's when the
hey,
predictions come out. So, you know,
I might just phone you. You know, I might just keep one ringing you on Friday.
that's okay
Let's
because
put
my
your D
phone's
and
on
D
do
on.
not disturb, so it won't matter.
DND.
Um but yeah,
Hey,
all
start
right.
screaming like some mad woman down the phone. I thought you were supposed to be checking me later.
I mean that wouldn't really matter, but you know,
Toxic.
they tell you just come true. But that's a whole different story. Right. Right. Okay, so let's start from the bottom of the card.
Excuse me.
We're going to start from
Okay.
the bottom of the card, yes, and we're going to work our way up to the top of the card. I'm
Okay.
going to make sure all sentences are complete and full to stop your filthy mind from taking us elsewhere. Danny, Sam Noakes, and Abdullah Mason.
Yeah.
Who's winning that WBO belt?
In my opinion, I believe that Abdullah Mason becomes the youngest current world champion on Saturday night. Sam Noakes is a very good fighter. He's had a good run. We've seen his progression through the Queensberry cards, but I do believe that Abdullah Mason is one of those future stars, and I do believe it will be his night. That American um, East Coast style. That he's from around that New Jersey area, ain't he? As well.
Yeah.
Nah, he's not from Jersey. He's from
Connecticut.
I don't think
No.
he's. I think for some reason I got Virginia. Like not Virginia. Of
Jay Sharp will know. They've
yeah.
got a similar style. There's a few of them that have got a similar style.
Yeah, I think he's from. I thought he was from around them
Let
ways.
me
That
double check.
that tri-state area.
Jay Sharp, we
Abdullah
need you to tell us where
Mason.
Abdullah's from.
He's
Trained by his
from
father.
uh,
He's from
Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah,
yeah, he's from Ohio. Oh, Ohio. Okay, so that's
So
okay.
where's that
so
then?
that's like Midwest.
Midwest. That's like
Oh,
the
I got a
Adrian
few then.
Broner, Sean Porter, Alicia Baumgardner.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, the Ohio people, especially like Cleveland, Cincinnati, them people they can scrap. Yeah, they can scrap. It's like a fighting city in
mm.
general. But yeah, I believe that. Yeah, I believe Abdullah Mason will win that.
Okay, Red. What's your thoughts?
I thought Abdullah
Mhm.
because I've watched him. I just think he's really explosive. When he was doing handstands in the ring, he's showing off his athleticism. But I do think he's a skilled boxer. I do like his style. The fact that he's trained by his father, like Ballsy is with his son. Um, but my gut says him. My gut says him. But I will back the Brits. I will be saying Team Noakes
And you'll
on
be
that
happy.
occasion.
So, will you be happy whoever wins then, or will
Yeah,
you be happy if Noakes wins, but you just expect Mason to win?
yeah, kind of that one. The second
Okay,
one.
respectable. Right. So now I've got one for you, Red. That you have no horse in the race.
Hmm.
Bam Rodriguez versus Puma Martinez for the unified super flyweight championships.
Right now, I can't give you a result on that because if I did, it would be because I know Bam, but I don't know Puma. I
Okay.
haven't done the research. You
Right.
know what I'm like? You should have known I was going to do this. I'd have to do the research. I can't choose one. Sorry.
Okay.
Even though
Fair enough.
Bam's amazing. And he looks like he's grown up now. He sort of looked like a bit of a teenager before, but now he's looking a bit more chiseled. He looks older, like a manga cartoon face, the old mangas, not this new anime shit that you lot watch. I'm on about the 80s with the real mangas, Ninja Scrolls. He's got that kind of jawline.
Okay. Danny.
Not relevant, but I just thought I'd
No,
say it.
no. Thank you, Danny. Bam and Puma.
I've got Bam. The reason being because I think Puma, even though he's a good boxer, his last two wins against Ioka, I just feel that he doesn't have the power. With Bam, once he don't respect your power, he just starts walking through you, and he's just gonna run you over, unfortunately. And I think that's what he's gonna be doing to Puma, who is gonna be tough. Argentinians are no, known to be tough, but I just think Bam is just he's gonna be too strong, too big, too strong, like GGG.
So, you thinking stoppage, or you thinking strong decision?
I'm thinking strong decision because Puma's Argentinian.
Okay, it's a good shout. Red, Haney and Norman Jr. Where we
I,
going?
I just want Norman to win.
Okay,
The end.
okay,
I like him. I like Norman. He's a southerner, isn't he? Is he
yeah,
from the south?
yeah.
I like they're kind of like how Birmingham is to
I knew you
London.
were gonna
So
say.
I'm gonna go for the country because we always get underestimated and people don't really know that we are street ready, or in his case, boxing ready. I like his attitude. His father's a little bit different, but I do like Brian Norman Jr. I really want him to win.
Okay,
I really want him to win. He doesn't even know who I am. He doesn't care. I want him to win.
Red's on a True Geordie vibe, boy. Although no, that's different because True
True
Geordie
Geordie.
just wants Devin Haney to lose. He don't care if it's Norman or anyone else.
Oh, I don't even watch his stuff. I wouldn't even know. I just like Norman. I like his
You
just
like his
his
vibe?
relaxed. Yeah, I like it. I like it.
That's respect. You know what? I'll be honest. Like, I knew him from before. I thought good fight and everything, but his personality is one of those where you can kind of get behind it. He is very much, even though there was some ducking when Boots was around and stuff. You know,
Understandable though.
yeah, fair enough. But more that was more on his dad. But he did play into it. But
Yeah.
since Boots left, he has come out of his shell a bit more, and I'll
Yeah.
admit he is quite entertaining. Danny, Norman, Haney, what are we saying?
I'm going with Brian Norman, and I think he's actually going to either stop or knock Devin out. He improved over his last couple of fights, and as a person, as you guys are saying, since his dad's let him start talking, I think he's really coming across really well. And Devin Haney's coming across really bad in this build up. Even the dad, Bill Haney, even though I do find him entertaining, Bill, but he is letting himself down and making himself look muggy. Um, Especially when they're getting brothers to try and rush the dad and the son with the wife beater and all that. It just looked a bit muggy. And I just want the Georgian country boy to give him that Georgia beating. Like when the man got the deck chairs out down in Alabama.
This is what I'm talking about. These country folk, man.
Yeah, yeah,
These
yeah.
country folk, stop playing.
No, but I've always said
I like the green
bumpers
grass.
can't play with them like Ipswich dons. As I said,
Country.
people think they're jokers, but listen, they got that. Listen, that Brian Norman, from when you're seeing them some of his knockouts, you could tell like Wilder, they've got that plantation power. It's different. It's different.
Okay, all right. So main event. Danny, we're gonna stick with you on this one so that you can give the analysis, and then Red can sum it up in a nice little red bow at the end. We got Dave Benavidez and Anthony Yard, the only person who actually has any losses on his record in this entire event. So,
Wow.
does that mean that he is cannon fodder for your guy Benavidez, or is Anthony Yard about to upset the apple cart and do what finally has been destined of him to do since the Kovalev days?
Do you know what? That was a very interesting, fun fact you brought up earlier when you said about there's only 3 losses on the card. I didn't even realize that. I didn't even think of
I
that.
saw the losses. I didn't think it was him. Didn't they do a poster about it?
No, no, I didn't even see the poster. But I knew he had 3 losses. Obviously, Arthur, Kovalev, but I didn't think there was 3 losses between the whole card. It didn't even occur to me. But going to the fight, I think everyone knows who I'm picking. My nephew David Benavidez,
monster.
I think he's going to stop Anthony. I think he's going to stop Anthony Yard late between rounds 9 and 11, maybe between 9 and 12. But I think 9 and 11. I think Anthony will put up a valiant effort. But some of the things, the whole build-up, the way he is talking is quite alarming. The way he is reduced himself to, let's just have a shootout, as in a way as to say, I just want to go out in a blaze of glory. It's like you're saying, I can't box with you. I can't walk you down. So let's just have a tear up and And he says who lands, it's just who lands first. So it's just like a kamikaze. And remember, he always says, "Oh, my career is not a kamikaze. Everything is about timing." Usually, that's normally how he talks. He says he's not about a kamikaze, but now he's talking about let's just have a effing shootout, like the Cray twins, where it's like, it's like you just want to go down in a blaze of glory to give that British valiant loser effort because you don't see stylistically wise in any department how you can beat him. Benavides looks very focused. He's looking very sharp and fast. Some people they keep talking about his last two victories. Oh, his two victories being at light heavyweight, and he hasn't stopped anyone. But his first fight was against the former lineal champion who was in a unification fight with Beterbiev, and he lost whilst he was ahead on points in Alexander Vosdik. Then he fought what people thought was the second coming in David Morrell. If you'd put Anthony Yarde in with Gvozdyk or Morrell, would he have even beaten those two guys, let alone stopped them? Do you see what I'm saying? But then if you'd put David Benavides in his first two light heavyweight fights against Anthony Yarde's last two opponents in Ralph Vilkans or Lyndon Arthur, I believe that David Benavides would have stopped both, because Ralph Vilkans, as we saw in his last fight, got knocked out in the first round by Mehmet Unal, the Turkish guy who most people don't even know. And this is a guy who Anthony Yarde went 10 hard rounds with. When you're talking about other former, when you talk about Lyndon Arthur, yes, Anthony Yarde put a barrage on him and hit him with a body shot, which Lyndon Arthur said in the first fight he hurt him with a body shot, so kind of gave the game plan away. Went down on one knee at 10. He decided to just stand up, walk off like nothing happened. But in all three fights, Anthony's never wobbled him or dropped him to the head, yet he got dropped by a middleweight in Brad Rea in his last fight, got dropped to the head by an Argentinian guy who nobody really knows as well, Lyndon Arthur. So is that power really real itself? The questions have to be answered on Saturday night. When you're talking about, common opponents, once again, we talk about Tony Avalon. Anthony Yarde took 7 rounds to get rid of him. Joshua Buatsi took out Tony Avalon in the first round. Marek Mateja from Poland, a guy who Craig Richards wiped out in 5-6 rounds in the O2. I remember Base the Kid was there as well that night. That Marek Mateja took out Tony Avalon in 6 rounds quicker than Anthony Yarde also. So when you're talking about common opponents and stuff, some of these guys that he's taking quite long to get rid of, people are getting these guys out of there a lot sooner. Do you see what I'm saying? So people say that Anthony Yarde's this big puncher. I haven't quite seen this power proven yet. And David Benavides, as I keep saying to people, is a lot harder to hit than he makes out, because he's so, people look at the blistering hands and the aggressive front foot stuff. When you're actually trying to hit him, he is very elusive, does these moves. He's been working with guys like Rigondeaux to improve his defensive skills. I've been putting up some of the highlights of and stuff like that of him doing his sparring and stuff. And he's very evasive. And, I just think that the accumulation of shots is going to break down Anthony Yarde, who will try to, maybe fight strong, but he will get broken down and worn down and stop late on, in my opinion.
Red, just before I go to you, Danny, quick question. With regards to that, right? So Benavides is not with Memo Heredia for this fight, which is his strength and conditioning coach. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now he only seems to bring him in for the fights that he deems to be like the big proper fights. Yeah. Also, but Memo is also very similar, has a very similar background to Victor Conte in the sense of the the old medicinal advantage surgeries, shall we say? Yeah.
Has he been busted before?
Yes.
Oh,
yes. So when we look at that, but also a lot of people have alluded to David Benavides this week. Obviously, it's weight cut week, but he's already looking extremely drawn. Eyes a bit sunken in. Yeah. He hasn't. He doesn't look the way he looked in the Morrell fight, or even the Vosdik fight, for that matter. So, is it possible that, number one, not having Memo with him is actually going to be a detriment to him and could possibly cause him adverse effects in this fight? And also, is it a case that he looks that drawn and sunken in because he stayed at 168 for so long, his body was not allowing him to take the weight off for 175? It's basically saying he has to go up to, Remember we were talking about the cruiserweight thing? It's the same with Devin Haney. He could only stick at 140 for 2 fights. And then all of a sudden the body is telling him you gotta move up again because you was at 135 for too long. We need to grow. Is that possibly happening to Benavidez now as well?
With the the guy who helps him lose the weight and stuff, I don't think it will be a problem. It is a potential issue though, because as you said, he tends to only use him when he really feels like he's in with a serious threat where I need to be on my A-star game. So is he potentially overlooking that in the yard? That could happen. And if you're overlooking an opponent too much, as we've seen many a times, upsets can happen. As far as the weight loss and the face looking a bit drawn in, I think that's more to do with the fact that out of camp, you can see his body and his face. He balloons up and he's fat. It's not like he's taking off muscle. So when he's taking off a lot of fat, I think that's what will lead to him looking more sunken because he's having to lay off the empanadas and some of the milk cakes, leche cakes and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's what it is. But he'll hydrate well. But yeah, you can see that he definitely needs to. I think he enjoys home cooking a lot.
So you're saying that's why he stays to PBC shows, yeah? I was going to get that one in there. All right, Red, take us home. Yard or Benavidez?
Yard upset.
Okay. Is that a tactical thing, or you just believe the energy is right?
No, I'm just going to back the Brit. And I've never backed Yard before, so I feel like doing something different. I have no loyalty to anyone, only to myself, and today it's Yard.
Points or stoppage?
No, I think he's going to stop him.
Okay.
I can't see Yard going to points with someone like Benavidez. I think he's going to go for the body, and stop him that way. It's crazy, isn't it? But I'm saying it. I'm just throwing it out there. Who knows?
It could happen. I know Ring IQ's been heavily favouring Yard.
Oh, has he? I'm not on my own then.
And Beats. While I've been watching their videos, they both have been favouring Yard in this fight.
Well, no, actually, no. Ring was favouring Benavidez, but he hasn't given his pick yet. So his pick will probably come tomorrow or Friday when he does one of those videos, or he'll probably do it on a live. Okay, well, I've enjoyed this. I've managed to. I think I've been the most. I want to say savage, but I've been worse before. I'm pretty sure I've been a lot worse.
Don't change.
No, I've enjoyed getting some stuff off my chest, but yeah. Speaking of which, all right. So we have to, because I don't want to do it on a big show initially, right? Because we have to make sure we work the kinks out. But remember, Danny, we were talking about doing a joint watch along for one of these events, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I reckon we should trial it on one of the smaller ones, just to see if we how we can interact and get. So I was thinking, how about we do a joint watch along for the Nigeria card on Friday the 19th, and then possibly even the Ghana card. Oh wait, no, Daniel, you're gonna be.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll think of another one.
You mean all three of us together, don't you?
Huh?
All three of us together, you mean? Don't
Yeah,
you?
as in all three of us on this. I mean, we can do it. We'll stream it through all of our platforms.
Yeah, as we're doing now. Yeah.
But just all of us do it. Okay, I know what we can do it. And it might be a bit easier for you, Red, is because it will be in our time zone. But let's do it on the way of the Night of the Samurai card, because that's a smaller card in that sense. We can work the kinks out. It's not gonna affect anything. It's all Japanese stars, couple Brits, couple Cubans here and there. I think that will be a good one for us to.
Is that a Sunday one?
Yeah, it's no Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah,
what time
normally it is Sunday,
it'll be Saudi time, so it'll be early, like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, that sort of time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they're not accommodating the Americans. So
yeah,
good.
That's there should be accommodating more Japan, so you'd think they'd try and do it later on, now early in the
afternoon.
Yeah. But it's going to be regular Saudi time, I believe. So.
Okay. So that's the Night of the Samurai. That's the Ring card, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that might be a good one to trial it on, or
What
maybe
about
we'll
the
see if
AJ one? Don't you think that'd be a good one to try it on as well? Because it's
Netflix.
Netflix. Everyone's got Netflix. It's
Yeah, but
probably
no, but that's
pay
because
per view.
that's a nighttime one though. We can't trust you to be up.
Oh, yeah.
And the Miami
And
time.
he's not, and Danny's not going to be there because he's going to be in Ghana.
Oh, of course, because of
Yeah,
Craig.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right then. Never mind.
But maybe there's be some other cards. Maybe it might be a smaller card we can trial it on and see if it works as well.
I think it will work anyway. I don't really think it matters what we do it on. I'd rather go big. But yeah, whatever works. We get along. It doesn't matter. We'll just have fun.
Easy
Okay.
base, easy
But
base.
it'd be easy. You know what would be even better?
What?
And I know it's not going to happen, but it could happen. If one of the evenings, say I come down to London for the weekend, and we do it from
A studio or
yeah studio, like
Yeah.
all three of us. That would be even better. I can't
Yeah.
be around too many people, so just us three.
Yeah, there's loads of studios around in the southeastern and stuff like that. So yeah, we can make that happen.
We'll sort something out. We can work something out.
Yeah.
And just to say, I want to obviously address it because this is kind of a running joke now. I think we've addressed it previously, but I'm going to pull it up just so we can. Philip, he says, and no Maestro as always. Philip, I think we've already kind of made the announcement. Maestro is going to be pretty much unavailable for the foreseeable future. He's got some other things that is going on. He's just opened up a new gym for like the local youth in the Bronx, and he's training like young amateur upstarts. So he doesn't have the time to do the shows anymore, especially the times that we would want to come on. He's just about managing his own schedule for his channel, which I think has dipped off massively as well.
Oh,
So
okay.
while he will, on occasion, when he has the opportunity, he will, join the shows, but don't expect Maestro. That's the reason why we even changed the graphics and we don't have our faces on them anymore, because that's just how it is. I hope that everyone kind of gets that now, so it can stop, because it's reflecting bad on him, and it's not his fault.
Nah.
There's things going on. So I just wanted to address that so that we can kind of put that to bed to anyone in the chat still wondering why he's not here. That's the reason.
Oh, are you not going to cover like Moses and Will Hutchinson and Ezra? Or are you going to save that for another day?
No, I'm going to cover it, but the thing is, I might go to it.
No, I'm saying cover
like
it now.
today, we haven't spoke about it.
You want to talk about? Oh, well,
It's up to you.
all right. Give it a few moments. Sure.
Yeah,
That's the only thing we haven't spoke about.
yeah. What I'll say is, I think Ezra, the way through these exchanges. At first, I was thinking, oh, it's too soon, but the way he's talking, he's making me start to believe he can pull this off now. And Willie Hutchinson showed some strange, but I know he's a bit wacky, but he showed some vulnerabilities. I got a baby and it needs milk, so I need to get me the money. I need the money. I'm like, huh? What's all that about? And then he's like, I was where you was when I was not, and he's like, yeah, but Ezra's basically saying, well, I've caught up with you, so
Yeah, we're here now. Are you a
we're
failed
here, so I'm
prospect?
fighting you. So that shame on you that you was doing this how many years ago, and you're still, and now I'm at your level, you're still here. So yeah, I'm here. I'm rising, and I've now met you. So that means you've been either stagnant or you've dropped off. But one way or the other, shame on you that you're now fighting me in a fight that people are saying is a good fight. It's not like a tick over. So yeah, Ezra's sounding very confident and up for this, and I think he's making me a believer that he can do this.
Have you got a bias though, Danny? Because obviously Craig lost to Willie, and you know the skill level of Craig, and then you look at Craig and think there's no way Ezra could beat Craig, so there's no way he's beating Willie. Do you look at it like that?
No, I wasn't even thinking of that. I was just thinking Willie Hutchinson, all his accolades and stuff like that. Whereas Ezra Taylor, he's climbing up the ranks, but he hasn't fought at a major high level. But then when the way he broke it down, he's like, you got folded by Lennox Clark, you got folded up and dropped to the body, which is, I've always said, when you go down from body shots, that means you've made a personal choice. Head shots, you can't control yourself. As we saw with Eubank, he didn't choose to go on the floor. His body went on the floor involuntary. But when you go down from a body shot, you have volunteered like, ow, I need refuge, and that is a mental thing, which shows a sign of mental weakness. And Ezra is
Ezra
now,
said that.
yeah, he's getting into his head. And when you do things like that, because we know Mr. Hutchinson, sorry, is he likes to play the mind games, but it seems Ezra is is a lot smarter than Hutchinson thinks. He couldn't get off the even Ezra even sort of stifled him, and where, because Mr. Hutchinson likes to go down the old, yeah, road man, bad man, but he goes, yeah, Edra put it to him like, yeah, you keep thinking you're some kind of bad man or whatever like that. And so Hutchinson didn't know really where to go with that one. So very, very smart and calculated culinary procedure by Ezra. So yeah, I'm giving him a much better chance than I did a few days ago.
Oh wow. I'm always going to back Ezra because I like him. I interviewed him from his debut, before his debut, so I've known him for a long time. I've seen him grow. I've seen him. I've been to press conferences when he was, and he's been on the card, but he didn't have a seat at the table. He was sat in the audience. You know, he wasn't that guy. He wasn't being noticed. And then I've just watched him get further and further and further, and now he's co-main. So I love to see the progression. Do I think he can beat Willie? Yeah, because one thing I will say about Ezra is he's got heart and he won't stop. I know I'm just looking at Jam Down's comments as well.
I'm not
But
even thinking of jammed. I'm just it's you're throwing in the certain combinations of words that just
oh, sorry.
because talking about men beating Willie is
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
I'm sorry, my head should not be there, but
Hutchinson.
I can't do it.
Yeah. But you know what? I do have faith in young Ezra, but I'm also aware how slick Hutchinson is. He's very slick and he knows his way around the ring. And I said to Ezra, if you've got no ring IQ, he's going to show it. You've got to be able to cut that ring off because he's slick and he can move around that ring with his eyes closed. So I asked him, I did say to him, do you think it's too soon? And he was like, no, it isn't, but I understand. Obviously, he's got he's further than me. Whatever, this is an opportunity. Blah blah blah. But no, I don't think it's too soon. So he's confident in himself. We'll see what happens. But one thing I will tell: Ezra's got heart. I've watched it. I've watched him spar. I've been in his gym, watched him spar. He doesn't give up. You'll have to stretcher him out the ring. Stretcher. He's not going to give up. Doesn't matter if he's winning or he's losing, and that's what makes him dangerous. So when he's sitting there talking, he's quite confident in himself.
No, I
Okay,
hear it. Look, it's gonna be a good fight. We're gonna find out, is Ezra at this level that he claims? Is it a bit too soon for him? Ultimately, are we? Is there still the opportunity that Willie Won't Hutchinson is still got a little bit of the fire left in him?
Mm.
Is he just going to be the new gatekeeper of the division now? It'll be interesting to find out.
Mm.
So yeah, I guess we just got to wait and see sort of how that kind of plays out. Good luck to well, I'll say good luck to Ezra. I don't really care for Willie Won't but yeah. Other than that, good stuff. Moses taking on Jermaine Franklin, which is a fight that has been spoken about for over a year. They said apparently they tried to make it before. Franklin didn't want it, or his team didn't want it. Now, given the fact that he was obviously with Dimitri Salita, I'm not surprised that there's probably was issues going around that fight. You've seen that, Jermaine was tweeting for time about having to go through hell and back to get out of his contract and to find and to have the lawyers involved. He even, cut off the dreads to almost, to say that he's unshackled himself from the clutches of Dimitri Salita. Ultimately, how do you think that one's going to play out, Red? I mean, he's the guy that's supposed to give Moses the rounds that he's not been able to get so far. But is it a case that he can give him the rounds? Can he possibly cause an upset, or will he get taken out the same as everyone else has so far?
I think Moses is the most athletic fighter that Franklin has fought recently. Albeit AJ is muscly, athletic. Moses is fast, athletic. Is awkward. I do believe that Jermaine can give him the rounds, but Moses is very unpredictable. He's just unpredictable. I do believe that he'll win, and I do believe that this is another name on his record that he needs to obviously push him forward. Could there be an upset? Yeah, there could. But I think Frank Warren's quite clever with his matchmaking. He almost convinces you that they could potentially lose, but then they don't. Moses is just too quick. He's just athletic. He's fast. He's springy. He's in and out. And with that in and out, he carries the power. I don't know if he can stop, because I don't think Franklin has been stopped, has he? Has he ever
No.
been stopped?
No.
No, he's only
So
lost the 2 fights.
This is what I'm saying, and it was points, and Dillian's was so close. You could have literally, like shaved it out of thin air. So yeah, maybe he could get more rounds. Maybe this could go to points. Moses has gone to points before, but I do see a competent boxing win. Whether he'll stop him or not, I don't know. Whether Jermaine will catch him or not, we'll see what happens. Moses says the idea is for my chin not to get tested. The idea is for me to hit and not get hit. That's that is boxing. And he said that to me. He said that's one thing. It's like, oh, everyone wants me to get punched up. I'm trying not to get hit. So we'll see what happens. And I admire that answer because it's an honest answer. So
I hear it. I hear it. Yeah. Danny, what do you think?
Yeah, Moses sounds very confident. The way he's talking is like he's not. I know everyone's saying that they've expected him to give him rounds, but he's like, I don't know if he'll give me rounds. He might not. Might just be 2-3 rounds. So the way he's talking is like he's expecting early showers. Jermaine Franklin, the usual self. He doesn't really get too much into the talking thing. What I think of the fight, I think is a good fight, a good step up for him. Yeah, Jermaine Franklin with his movement and his knowledge of the ring might hit Moses a few times, but I don't think he has the power to trouble him in any sense. It's just, how Moses deals with just getting hit really and maybe take a few shots here and there. But I expect Moses to put on a dominant performance and a more dominating performance over him in winning on points than Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte did, which will still be, impressive on paper to the general public if he's able to do a more impressive victory than those two did, a more convincing one.
I know, Frank, I believe, and I can't prove this, Base and Danny, but I think that Fabio's been put into that position because it makes it easier, because Fabio will keep that belt for a bit because he is good, despite what Lawrence says. That's for Moses. That belt's for Moses.
Oh, before I forget, actually, if we're gonna, actually, I think Moses is that he'll go the WBA route. I think they'll try and get a unification out of that rather than the WBA.
Yeah, I'm with you.
The reason I'm actually mentioning this because I put it out on X the other day, and I've also now seen a couple of other content creators put it in their videos. Whether they got it from me or not, or we just think alike, not sure. But I want to put it out there just so we have a record of it on this platform as well. I said, when was this? On what day were we? I said it on Monday, I believe. I would not be surprised. No, sorry, I said it yesterday evening. I wouldn't be surprised if we get Fabio Wardley and Derek Chisora next as Fabio's next fight, which will basically, it will give him that crossover appeal. It will try and cement him into the box office star that the UK want. And then you basically can parlay Chisora's fans over to Wardley, the little passing of the torch, the last fight, all of that sort of stuff. And then from there, you have Wardley doing whatever he does kind of moving forward. And that's how you kind of create that star.
Interesting.
I think that, because Derek didn't take the IBF. He hasn't taken his IBF opportunity. Obviously, I believe he's number 8 or number 10 in the WBO rankings at present, which means that he is eligible to do a voluntary. Frank owes him a last fight. They had the issue with the with the Dillian White making that fight. So it would kind of make sense now if Dillian allowed Moses to go and clean up that work, so to speak, and then just sort of finish off the career at the hands of the Dillian White camp and stuff. There's all kinds of narratives in there, but while it's not an easy fight, it's a easy title defense, like a voluntary to against someone that you would probably assume wouldn't be the hardest of tasks, especially to get that little defense into to really feel like a champion, etc., etc. So pointing out there, like I said, I have seen it in a video previously. I don't want to mention just because I'm not accusing them of getting it from me, but obviously my tweet went out long before their video did.
I'm gonna have a look now.
I like that. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up being his next fight, whether it's a homecoming back to Ipswich or just his first voluntary before a mandatory gets called or anything of that ilk.
And they could name it War is Raw, because Del Chisora says War Chisora. Wardley's now been spouting the war by name.
Wardley. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? As you said, that whole crossover, passing the torch over with the war thing base, that's a good call there.
Yeah. Might call it the end of the war, or
the end of the war. Because
Yeah.
it couldn't be the end of the Raw, could it?
No, I'm just saying War is Raw because the play on the words, because what's it? War is War because the WWF, WWE, War is War.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry. We got it, Danny. We did get it. But yeah. All right, cool. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, we've been going for 2 hours. We had a feeling this would be a very long show, and you can tell it's been a good one because Red has not flagged once, and even it's past her bedtime. So
Tuesday, Danny.
Well, Wednesday.
No, next Tuesday, Danny.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's happy with that. All right, cool.
We're trying to get routine for the guys. We're trying to get routine, even though a day late's not bad.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse. But yes, thank you very much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hype all the different platforms: October Red Media, Fight Fan TV Live, Base the Kid, the Hardcore Casual, the YouTubes, the X accounts, the Instagrams, the TikToks if they're available, and any other social media platforms that we frequent. I will give one quick take on Atalma versus Franklin. And my quick take is I'm not going to guarantee. I'm 90% sure Howard Foster will be the referee. And I'm 90% sure it will be the first stoppage on Jermaine Franklin's record. I don't normally give these out early.
Oh, wow.
But let's see what happens there. Yeah?
Are you going to go?
Possibly. I would like to.
Should we get an Airbnb?
It's not so much. That's not the issue. The issue is the boarding of the pup.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't do the 3 and 4 days.
We do go.
Used to.
No, it's not 3 and 4 days. We just do it for the night.
Yeah, but remember, I used to go to the press conference and then the weigh-ins from the Thursday.
I hear that. Well, we'll do if we can. We'll just.
I might come up for the day. I might see what I can do. Come up for the day. We'll work something out. We'll work something out.
Family room.
We'll talk. Danny, can you sign us out, please?
I might try and go, like, if they want to credit me, because it gets hard out here these days. But yes, until next time, guys, it's another one from Fight Talk Live. It's Danny Glover. It's Base the Kid. It's October Red. And remember, guys, persistence beats resistance. You know where it is.